Hi and welcome back to freesciencelessons.co.uk. By the end of this video, you should be able to explain why small covalent molecules have got low melting and boiling points. You should then be able to explain why small covalent molecules cannot conduct electricity. In the last few videos, we've been exploring covalent bonding and we've seen lots of covalent molecules, and I'm showing you them here. Now, one key fact about all of the covalent molecules that we've seen is that they are small. Even methane, which is the largest, only has 5 atoms. There are 2 key properties of small covalent molecules, and we're going to look at these in this video. I should point out that the first property can seem a little bit tricky, so let's get started. So the first key property of small covalent molecules is this. Small covalent molecules have got low melting and boiling points. This means that they're usually gases or liquids at room temperature. This shows you the melting and boiling points of all the small covalent molecules that we've seen so far. As you can see, they all have very low melting and boiling points. All of the small covalent molecules that we've seen are gases at room temperature. Now that's because they all boil at temperatures below room temperature. Now there is one exception to this, which is water, which I'm showing you here. Water is a liquid at room temperature, but it still has a relatively low boiling point at 100 degrees Celsius. In the exam, you could be asked to explain why small covalent molecules have got low melting and boiling points. Let's look at that now. Okay, this shows a number of hydrogen molecules in their liquid form. So this would be a very cold temperature, for example, minus 257 degrees Celsius. Now, I'm using hydrogen to illustrate this point, but this equally applies to the other small covalent molecules. You can see that the molecules are vibrating. I should point out that because it's a liquid, these molecules would also be moving from place to place, but I'm keeping it simple here by just showing the vibrations. Now, there are 2 key ideas that you need to understand. Firstly, the atoms in each molecule are held together by strong covalent bonds, and I'm showing you that here. Secondly, there are very weak forces between one molecule and another molecule. Scientists call these intermolecular forces. Intermolecular means between molecules. Remember that intermolecular forces are weak. Now, as we increase the temperature, the vibration of the molecules increases. At a certain point, this vibration is strong enough to break the weak intermolecular forces holding the molecules to each other. At this point, the molecules turn to a gas, in other words, they boil. So, can you see that because the intermolecular forces are weak, it does not require very much energy to turn small covalent molecules from a liquid to a gas? In the exam, you could be shown a small covalent molecule and asked to explain why it has a low melting and boiling point. So the key fact is that there are weak intermolecular forces between the molecules, and these do not require a lot of energy to break. Now there is one further point. As we increase the size of the covalent molecule, the intermolecular forces increase. We can see that with this table. This shows the first 5 alkanes. Alkanes are also small covalent molecules, and we're going to see them in a lot more detail in later videos. We can see that as the alkane molecules get larger, their boiling point increases. That's because the intermolecular forces increase and require more energy to break. Okay, so we've seen that small covalent molecules have got low melting and boiling points, so let's take a look now at another key property. Small covalent molecules do not conduct electricity. That's because the molecules do not have an overall electric charge. Again, this is a relatively common exam question, so it's really worth learning. You'll find plenty of questions on the properties of small covalent molecules in my revision workbook, which you can get by clicking on the link above. Okay, so hopefully now you should be able to explain why small covalent molecules have got low melting and boiling points. You should then be able to explain why small covalent molecules cannot conduct electricity.